please stand. If you're going to stretch your legs, please stand. It's much, much better to stretch your legs standing than stretching them out in front of you. It's just a much better for your knees and for everybody else. And if you want to rub a little bit of love, relaxed, and just the kneecaps, give them a rub. They really like it. And they have to put up with a lot when you're sitting there. It's just a better relaxation than stretching your knees out in front. Sorry. You can stretch the backs of the knees and give the kneecaps a bit of a rub. You know? It's only half an hour, but it's much, much easier on the... So I'll sit down and on the chair. It's a blessing when the rain is coming. The day was a blessing. I hope nobody in Israel ever complains about the rain.
Half of the population. It's called women.
Code. Code.
Very beautiful question about bowing on the technical sense, how to bow and why.
How and why to bow?
Really on more how rather than why.
How rather than why? How is the best way to bow? I'll go back to the earlier talk that I was giving about the 5 precepts, because here's a question about the 5 precepts. About not killing. It's great until you get a house that's totally taken over by fire ants. Mm-hmm. Fire ants, just kill them by the thousands. You'll have no choice because they've invaded the house. Fire ants invading the house, what to do? and killing them by the thousands and feeling guilty about killing them by the thousands. I sometimes ask people whether they own the house or the house owns them, because can you hear? No or yes? No. Sound engineer. Sorry. Closer to the mouth if possible. Closer to the mouth if possible, with the mixing change down. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Yang niก็ดีกว่าเนาะ Itipiso bhagava araham samma sambuddho. The spoken word is like this. There is the sound of the treble in the voice. There is the sound of the treble. There is the sound of the treble. There is the sound of the treble.
I don't know that we can get any better.
That's not sure if it can be better. Not sure if it can be better. Can some of you not hear at all? Not hear at all. So if you can't hear at all, please come closer. And if you'd like to come closer, you can come. You can hear now.
Is it better?
Here is clear. Clear. Okay, fire ants. What to do about fire ants? I think for all of us to recognize that our life is involved with death. If you're alive, there's going to be death. And what you can do is dedicate the blessings of your life for all the beings that have died as a result of your life and as a result of your actions, intentional or unintentional. There was a case when somebody I knew had a business which was called raising fat, and that's the business where you get an animal and the feed company pays you by the weight of the animal after 6 weeks when it gets slaughtered. It's called raising fat. And it was the job that they did. And I asked a Thai monk about it who lived by a fishing village where most of his disciples, of course, were fisher people. They caught and dragged the fish out of the sea and killed them. He was, in fact, vegetarian. So I think because he didn't wish to eat fish that had been killed especially for him. But what he told me about the person whose business was raising fat was, do it as best you can. Tell them to raise fat as best they can, so that they can make enough money to get out of the business, and then with whatever else they go into, whatever other business they go into, do lots of meritorious deeds and dedicate them to the blessing of all those that have died as a result of supporting their life. So the fire ants you're going to have to figure them out. And I'm not saying, you should leave the fire ants, you should leave the house to the fire ants. But you can dedicate blessings to them. You can do the best you can with them. You can make an offering and dedicate it to all the fire ants that have ever died from all the activities of humans. You can make offerings for the dedication of all the beings that have died as a result of human activity. And there are billions, and particularly as a result of your life. So share blessings, and any blessings you do generate in your life, share them with those beings that have died as a result of your life. You came here, you drove here, most of you, in different cars, and if no animals died as a result of you driving here, I would be very surprised. It's part of what driving is about. You didn't set off in your car thinking, I wonder how many beings I can kill. But if you're dealing with fire ants, you are actually saying to yourself, I wonder how I can protect this house. And if fire ants have to die, then that's the price that I have to deal with and the price that I have to pay. I'm not recommending it, but I'm not denying that it's something that happens. I hope that helps a little bit. It's part of the... Don't say that you haven't broken precepts when you have broken precepts, but do the best you can if you do break precepts. Thank you. I expect there may be more of these, so if you write more long questions like this or tangential questions like this, then I might just say, I've already answered it. How much your thoughts about concentration and how critical it may be for the lay follower. How much concentration do you need? I think most of you have heard this question before. I hope this question is not asked just so you can compare it to how other people have asked it. No, I don't need more line. I'm short-sighted and I'll read eventually. I probably, when I give instruction in meditation, I avoid the term concentration. Because it's so loaded. I talk a little bit about the hindrances, because the hindrances are something that we meet immediately. The hindrances are the sense of getting lost in fantasies about things that you'd love to do, or getting lost in fantasies about things that you would like to do to other people that you don't like, or things that you don't, or the sense of frustration and anger, or just getting lost in how much you want to enjoy something, and the related ones to that are torpor, which is like, it's the sense of goodbye, cruel world. I'm just going to meditate. And that which is both somehow sweet, but also somehow also about aversion, not wanting to face things. So it's a mixture of the first two in a slightly subtler form. And the difficulty with it is that torpor especially is difficult to investigate, because the tendency is to just turn off. And once you're turned off, you can stay turned off and have a habit of turning off when you come to meditation and sit quite still for quite a long time and feel quite calm at the end of it. And maybe even think that you've done some good, but actually you've just switched off. It's not actually awoken to anything. And the other one is restlessness, which is again a mixture of wanting some sort of sensual pleasure and not being able to stand what's happening. So you, not this bit, the next bit, not this bit, the next bit, not this bit, the next bit. So the mind's just going from one thing to the other the whole time, because it's never settling. It's a mixture of, I feel, of aversion and seeking some sort of pleasure. I don't like this one, I want the next one. Don't like this one, I want the next one. And the sort of the big one about all of this is the one that we wind up with, which is, I don't know what to do. and that's doubt. And that sort of doubt in your meditation is worth asking questions about, and is worth investigating, and is worth taking reasonably seriously. Investigating how it feels to feel doubt, investigating different things to do with your meditation, looking through your body, trying different things, and not stopping that investigation. It's and asking questions about, how is the best way to, trying different ways of working with the breath, trying different ways of taking attention through the body, trying different ways of visualizing different things, trying different ways of bringing energy through the body, trying different ways of bringing light through the body. All of these things, and find ways of enjoying your meditation and making it something that is fun. So that even if you don't get particularly peaceful, at least you've worked out some things about how this thing works from the inside, and that's helpful. But for many of us, coming to meditation is because we don't like something and we want to get something, and that is both aversion and greed. Yeah, and the reason that we don't like something, and the reason we want to get rid of something, behind all of that, I do suggest we wish ourselves well, and that well-wishing is worth connecting with. We actually wish ourselves well. We wish ourselves the highest happiness, a happiness independent of conditions. That would be the happiness that would, so that we're not asking anything to make us happy. We're actually realizing a happiness independent of conditions, and then we can offer happiness. So, and part of that is to start to work with whatever is happening now. be happy with where you're at. So, investigate what's actually happening. So if there's doubt about what's happening, and I don't know how to get this meditation together, start playing with it. Start playing with the breath. Start playing with the, like a kid playing with some toys. How does this work? You don't find it very difficult to concentrate on something you're really interested in, do you? It's not that difficult if you're interested in it. So find ways to get interested, so that because the factors of concentration, vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata, for those that remember them, the vitaka vichara is picking something up, and vichara is investigating. Oh, it's a piece of paper. It's been torn, and that excitement about the discovery is like piti. An enjoyment and appreciation of it is piti, and then the sukha is the happiness that you are doing it. Oh, great! I've got something to look at, and then the one-pointedness or the collectedness around it is not. It's the sense of the energies there with it. Yeah. So you've got it. Okay. And you're with it, and the energy's there with it, and work with it that way, so that don't worry about letting go of vitaka vichara. That will happen automatically, because the sense of having to hold it won't, and it will just stay with it because of the interest. Don't fuss yourself too much. Stay with this body and mind. This is what you have to work with. Stay with the breath. Get interested in the breath. Be interested in how the breath works. Be interested in whatever your bodhikara is, whatever your meditation practice is. If your meditation practice is buddho, then use buddho as something that you really, how does this buddho work? Where do I feel it? How do I feel it? How does it work? What is the buddho? So it's something that you bring vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, and ekaggata through the gift of attention, because you're not expecting anything. When you pick something up, you don't know what it is. So you got to, I don't know what this is. I'll start having a look at it. So it's not that I want to find peace in here, because I don't know what's in here. Yeah, I want to find peace in the breath when I don't know what the breath is. It's just not going to work. And don't worry about what sort of stage you got or anything like that. Just be interested in what is actually happening. And without, then you can start to notice the space around thought. Oh, what's not thinking? Oh. and you can start, not believing in the whole thing. Because if you come with the idea, I have to concentrate on the breath, now how concentrated am I getting? You just got all sorts of expectations about what you're going to get, and you're not actually looking at what's there. I hope that helps a bit. So, and I don't think a lay person or somebody dressed in a robe it's not going to make much difference, actually. Sorry, these are called human beings, and this is a human body. And if you've if you've heard the Dhamma, then there is a capability of awakening. Trust that. Trust that. If you've had the incredible good fortune of actually hearing that there is the possibility of awakening, and you have some confidence in that possibility, then that allows that to be possible. If you keep thinking, well, not for me, it won't be for you anyway, it's just awakening. So just keep doing it. And then you come to bowing. Because that's in the end all you can do. Sorry. In the end, that's all you can do. 100,000 prostrations is not enough. It's, I spoke to people who, the tradition where before you can receive teaching, you have to do 100,000 prostrations, 100,000 refuges, 100,000 offerings, 100,000 malas or something, alms or something, yeah. I spoke to people who've done that, and, the 100,000 prostrations, which if you go at it, you can do in about 3 months, in terms of numbers. Yeah? If you put the effort in, you can get it done in 3 months. And they said, if you get one good prostration out of that, you've done it. Yeah. It's a bowing that you can do. Now, the 100,000 prostrations are from standing up to full length. When Ajahn Chah first saw them, he thought, boy, these people really bow. Because sometimes the Thai people, they bow, they go down and they flutter their hands. Yeah? and that's not really bowing. So the mechanics of bowing, here we can't really do the full length prostrations, and it would take us a few weeks to get to Jerusalem doing full length prostrations one after the other, and that would be really strange. Sorry, bowing to the Wailing Wall. Sorry, I shouldn't. It's too easy. I'll show you. I'll show you the bowing. So, in this, we're actually called the bowing monks among Thai people, because we do a lot of it. If you've stayed at Pujongkom, you might have heard, you bow when you get into the kuti, you bow when you leave the kuti, you bow. So, even if you go out for 5 minutes or 5 minutes, you still bow when you go in and bow when you go out. And then at the meal time, you bow to the Buddha, you bow to the Ajahn, and you bow to Ajahn Chah. So you got 9 there, and then you got 9 at the end, and then you bow again, and you bow again. We're called the bowing monks. Okay? So, and part of the bowing is looking at how other people are doing it, so that you do it, so you're not all over the place. So this is not going to be easy in a place like here. So really don't. And I can remember, I was brought up Christian, I do know about the calf, and I know that it's a really bad idea to bow. So I've heard that one. And and I can remember sitting at the back and thinking, I am never going to bow, because it's really bad news. I really can remember that. So I'm not saying that in any way to encourage people to bow, honestly, because I really don't care if people bow. Honestly, I don't care. But, I've been asked about the mechanics of bowing, so I'll try and show that. In this tradition, now remember this is this tradition, there are other traditions and other ways of doing it. And it's different from males and females. So the females have it easy. They can be like this. You see how the feet are flat? See? Feet are flat. Well, the tops of the feet are down. Okay? The tops of the feet are down. Yeah? For the males, you got your feet curled up like this. Yeah? And you spend hours and hours like this, chanting. And it starts to hurt here. And it starts to hurt here. And then you wonder whether you can just do a little bit of like So for this one, definitely, it's possibly easier if you're a female. And then have your hands together here, a bit like this. But you're sitting well on your back. He sits a bit forward. So you sit here, and then down to here, reach them together. Hands to the forehead, just touching maybe the forehead. Coming down, following the body, keeping the hands together. And then the elbows just outside the knees, and the hands a tiny bit apart so that the head can go down. If it's dirty, keep your hands together so your head doesn't fall. Yeah? So you've got options, but that's basically it. And then coming back up, it's keeping the and that, yeah. You see how the monks do it. See how the new monks do it. You see, they come up, this hand goes up first because it tries to keep the robe on. And then the other one follows. And then you see lay people doing that when they don't need to.
I was thinking it's like more sati, right?
No. It's keeping the robe on. It's nothing to do with that. You see lay people doing it, following the monks, and they don't need to because they don't have to keep the robe on. It's I come to here, okay, and then down, and it's 3 times. Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, wisdom, truth, virtue. It's a way of remembering that this is your refuge, and as some of you know, Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Dhammhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranam gacchāmi. That was the way that upasampadā happened at the time of the Buddha. So, and for Samaneras, that is their undertaking of the Samanera training. It's that simple. So, if you see the danger in samsara, then refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha is a safe and precious place to point your direction into, incline towards, and in some way surrender into. Yeah. So that's a way of using bowing as a way of remembering. My refuge is wisdom, truth, and virtue. Where there's safety is in wisdom, truth, and virtue. And having that opportunity to do that with the time and place, then that's something that you can practice. Of course, like any practice of just form, it can become completely mindless. And that's also not particularly bad, actually, because what it does is, if you're doing a form mindlessly, it's actually just supporting you. The form is carrying you. And then if you put more energy into it sometimes, then you can keep it going. But sometimes just the form, you can just let the form carry you. Yeah. So I hope that helps a bit. Right. That's another half hour of sitting. Do you want to stand again for a little while, and then we can sit for a bit and take us up to 9:15? Okay. Thank you. As far as the chanting goes, we might leave it for a bit, or when we figure out what sort of chanting we can do that.
We brought the printing, the Hebrew.
The Hebrew
Mettā
Sutta.
Karaniya
Mettā Sutta in Hebrew.
Hebrew and Pali.
And in Pali. Who has chanted the Karaniya Mettā Sutta in Hebrew? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9.
No, I think they don't know it's called like that.
Okay, what's it called?
Mettā Sutta.
Mettā Sutta. Mettā Sutta in Hebrew? Anybody chanted it sometimes? 1, 2, 3, 4. About 10 of us. Okay?
Yeah.
So, because I would prefer to chant in Hebrew and Pali. Okay? Or Hebrew even, just Hebrew. See if you can do it just in Hebrew. The Mettā Sutta, if we do get round to it, is one of the suttas from the Lord Buddha. It does go back a long way. It's not something made up from late, and it's something that actually goes a long way. And it's something that's chanted by so many people around the world. If you were a Sri Lankan woman or a Sri Lankan man, you've almost certainly learned the Karaniya Mettā Sutta. It's something that they just learn. Just like, they just have to do it from the age of the sort of size. There are probably similar things in your culture that everybody knows.
Judaism.
Yeah. So the Karaniya Mettā Sutta, and it's actually, when you do read it, you'll see that it's actually quite a beautiful thing to remember. And if you remember also that one of the phrases of it is, "May all beings be well and happy." And yeah, so it's a phrase that has been chanted by and has been reflected upon by millions of people since the time of the Buddha. And one of the phrases is "born or to be born." Okay? And you're the to be born. So beings have wished you well for at least a couple of thousand years. And then if you continue that, it's a useful thing to perform to, even if sometimes you don't actually remember what you're doing or whatever, it's just something that you carry on. It's still a useful thing to do. So, in preparing for death, the closest you're going to get is to when you go to sleep. So it's helpful to give it some practice. And with sleep, I find it helpful to give permission to the body to rest, to give permission to this being to rest, rather than trying to force it to. This the sense of receive as much rest as you need to the body, rather than you have to rest, I have to rest. And then before resting, it's not uncommon for people to remember people who've blessed their lives, and people from your childhood, from your parents, from your teachers, your friends, the people who brought blessings to your life, and just the sense of, that was nice, that was kind, that was a lovely thing. And again, it's a sense of reconnecting, recollecting, remembering. And by all means, review the day. When you review something, it's not in the sense of criticizing it. It's more, oh, okay, that's what's happened. So it's not like I should have done better. It's a light review of what's happened, so that there's a sense of knowing, and also a sense of may beings protect for the time that I'm sleeping, the time that the body's sleeping, may beings protect, because it's a vulnerable time. It's a vulnerable time. And one of the things you can do when you recollect or remember is a sense of any blessings that have been generated through this action, through the actions of this being, may they be shared with all beings. May the blessings of my life be shared with all beings. The thing about sharing your blessings consciously is, of course, it's a really good return on investment, because you don't get anything less. Mm-hmm. You actually get more. If you share your blessings, you get a good return on your investment. It's not like sharing your sweets or your cakes. You have less yourself. You actually, the sense of sharing your blessings is something that it's actually making conscious and allowing life to the fact that if you do good things, if there are good things that are thought, said, or done, it actually does affect all beings. And it's not a lie, it's actually allowing it to be something that's alive and not ignored. And what we forget is ignorance is something that we do. We actually do ignorance. It's not something we have. We actually do it. Ajahn Sumedho calls it a verb. We're actually ignoring something. And the thing about ignorance is that we don't know that we're ignoring it. And that's the nature of ignorance, is that we don't know that we're ignoring it. If we know that we're ignoring something, then at least there's a start. But actually not knowing what we're ignoring. And if you've had any contact with Buddhism, you know that the root of the whole problem is ignorance. When we don't know what's going on, we make mistakes and we suffer. That's the nature of anything. If we don't know how to deal with it, we make mistakes and we suffer. And if we don't know that we're making mistakes or why we're making mistakes, we don't know why we're suffering. And so, actually, bringing consciousness and bringing life So the blessings of our life and the blessings of life is not ignoring it. And we don't have to rest in ignorance because our refuge is wisdom. Our refuge is understanding the truth and wishing to uphold it in society and preserve it in society. That's the refuge in Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. Wisdom, truth and virtue, awakening to the truth that's already there, and then in society upholding it and supporting it. That's what Sangha is about. Virtue. So that's the opposite of ignorance. Actually, giving attention, figuring out ways to suffer less now and in the future. And remembering that when you do that, you actually bring blessings to all beings. So when you sleep, rest with that if you can. Sense of, there's nothing I need to get up for tomorrow, really. I mean, the bell will go at 6:30, and maybe the people in the building, in the room that I'm in, will snore, but they're all right. It's okay. I can deal with this. I'm safe enough. The place is quiet enough. The support is good enough. And beings wish you well. So rest well, because it's okay to rest well. And then when you wake up, waking up, oh, where am I? Oh, sorry, something like that. And you can actually train that first thought. You can actually train that first thought. You can decide what the boot up program is in the start menu. But you have to actually put it there by actually deciding what you want to put there. And years ago I read somewhere, I think it was in a woman's magazine, I don't know quite why I was looking at it, but it has an article by the Dalai Lama who said that he woke up with the thought of kindness for all beings. I thought, he's human, I'm human, I can do that. and so, you can do it. You can wake up with the thought of kindness for all beings. It's just, it takes practice. You have to decide that that's what you want to do. And then when you remember that you're thinking, think that thought. And if you keep repeating, of course, it's the thought that you wake up with. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can think the thought, whatever your thought of kindness that you've decided that you want to do. It's not extraordinarily complicated. I asked the Ajahn Sumedho what he went to sleep with. I wake up with the sound of silence. Is there any sleep in the awakened heart? So don't worry about it, but allow yourself to recognize there is humanity, and there's the power here to decide and to train. Human beings can train themselves. They are the supreme trainers. They do stuff. And you can train yourself to how you sleep and how you wake up. They're important. Things that we do. It's something we can give attention to. It's something that we can do. So, I wish you really well with the rest. And it's got plenty of time. You've got 9 hours of sleep. Whoa! No, if you only have 4, that's fine also. Okay, because some people, that's what they do, and that's fine. But if you are with other people in your room, get up quietly, come and do some exercise or something, whatever. Keep and enjoy the silence and the space. Thank you all.